this was really nice, I thought, because not only do you see the Straw Hats reunited after their brief time apart from each other, but you see a very touching moment between Usopp and Chopper, which I thought was very profound.
Chapter 252 of One Piece, Junction.
You know what? I love the sense of adventure and just excitement, and oh man, it's just great, you know. In the wise words of Yoda, what does he say? Adventure, excitement. A Jedi craves not these things. Well, I'm not a Jedi, dude, okay? I crave these type of things, and I love it. So, well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and adventure-filled tale of One Piece. Our last chapter really saw us with, at the end of it, kind of having that oh shit moment and seeing the other half. Oh, excuse me, goodness gracious! Seeing the other half of that home. God, for the life of me, I cannot remember the guy's name. I'm gonna call him Diamond Head. Looks like he's got a chestnut on his head. So the descendant of Nolan the Liar. Anyway, Mont Blanc cricket. That's what it is, cricket. Anyways, so, you know, them kind of coming upon that, Robin and Nami and Zoro on his magical threesome that's never really happened with the two hotties on the ship. Well, the only two females on the ship. But, anyway, you know, them kind of finding out that this El Dorado, this legend, you know, this city of gold and everything, actually, you know, they had risen up and somehow become a part of Skypiea. So that was very cool, and it's great. It starts off, and Nami's like, you know, Nami loves the treasure, right? And she's like, oh, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. And Robin's like, what the hell? What are you talking about? You know, what are you thanking God for? You know, I thought you didn't this and that. And Zoro's just like, no, don't. I don't even think she knows what she's saying half the time. She's just excited because she's thinking, and it's funny because she's like, this is what I get for just being good and going along with everything and just kind of keeping my mouth shut, you know? Like, she's being rewarded with this city of treasure because they now know that it's somewhere up here, right? So it's pretty cool stuff, I think. And this is a chapter that kind of goes and starts to weave some of the different things together and start to reunite the crew and that sort of thing, which I think is great. So they go off and they're headed back towards Chopper, where they've left him on the sacrificial altar. And then we go and we see Luffy, Sanji, and and Usopp, of course, after, you know, they have gotten back to their ship and, of course, defeated the challenge, the ball challenge, you know, for Satori, the fat round guy. So they wind up, you know, they've been riding on the Milky Road, and they wind up getting into this next area that looks kind of like this prairie, and they're like, oh, man, okay, there's this prairie, this must be the next challenge, you know, and Luffy's like, I don't think there's anything here for challenging. Look, it's this wonderful field with flowers, and like, look again, idiot, those are skulls on top of sticks, right, like on top of pikes, and he's like, oh, yeah. So as they're cruising along on that little, you know, boat that they have or whatever, it winds up being they go in and a bunch of the Shandians, you know, Wyper and his crew kind of come flying by him, you know, and they're like on these, I don't know, it's like if they're flying or what, it almost looks like they got these like hoverboard skate type things on, and they come kind of doing all their flips and everything like that. And Wyper, it looks like, winds up, because he's the one with the rocket launcher, I think, or maybe they all have them, I don't know, but somebody fires a rocket at Luffy and company for no reason, right? And Luffy goes, he's like, gum, balloon, when he, you know, bounces it back. And then they're like, oh, a paramecia user, you know? And they're like, should we take care of him now? And they're like, no, don't worry about it. So then Wyper goes and he says, you know, I hear you're the people from the Blue Sea that are stirring up trouble up here. You know, you better leave and get back down to the Blue Sea, you know, if you know what's good for you. And Luffy's like, what the fuck are you talking about? So Luffy's like, them's fighting words, man. Bring it on, Baldy, you know? And they're like, just shut up, Luffy. Don't worry about it, you know? Just let them go on and let them be, you know? Because they're still trying to unravel the mysteries of everything. The Shandians and these people and everything. They don't really know what's going on and who's on whose side and everything else. They still haven't seen this god Enel. And they met, of course, you know, one of his priests. But still, a lot of this is still a mystery. And it's kind of, you know, obviously still in fog and cloud, so to speak, because we don't know exactly what's going on. But then it's funny because he says, yeah, you know, blah, 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 you know, if you're even strong enough to get back down to the Blue Sea, if you even have the strength. So I'm thinking, man, this is cool. You know, there's just more mystery being unraveled. So the Shandians are going on to go and start their little guerrilla attack, you know, hit and run warfare that they're going to do now that they realize that things are up in arms and one of the priests has been taken down, blah, blah, blah. So they go off and Luffy, and then they keep riding along on their little boat, right? And then you go and it flashes back and forth, and then you see a couple pages of the Shandians fighting the 3 remaining priests that are there, and it pretty much looks like they're getting their asses handed to them. And then it goes back to Luffy and Sanji and Usopp, and they're riding along on the boat, and they're like, "Oh, geez, that's so nice. It looks like I guess there is dusk in Skypiea. You know, it must be the sun goes down behind the clouds or something." And I'm just like, and then it goes back to this double-page spread of you know the Shandians fighting, and then it looks like Wyper and an unknown priest. I don't know who it is, but I'm assuming probably one of the strongest ones. He's got this cool like headdress looking thing on that comes out of his head, or it's attached to his head. And it looks like they're fighting it, and then it goes and it looks like Wyper goes and kind of, you know, pulls his rocket launcher magical thingy out that he has there, and is going to go and then it goes and boom, you just see a big boom, so it looks like he fires it in this priest's face. But really, I think this is kind of just to show you the whole struggle that's going on with them. So then we go and it cuts back to Chopper. And, well, Chopper, where he's at, you know, the sacrificial altar and everything. And Robin and Nami and Zoro have arrived back there, and they're like, "Whoa, Chopper, what's going on? Why is the mast missing? What's going to happen?" And he's like, "No, don't worry, nothing scary happened." You're just like, dude, it's okay, man. We know that you probably fought your hardest, you did your most, just tell us what's up, you know? And it's funny because my middle son, Logan, who you guys have seen in some videos and stuff, he's kind of like that. For some reason, even though my wife and I are completely transparent, not these evil people, and we always encourage trying to tell the truth and everything, sometimes he just has such trouble just coming out with something because he feels like he's going to let you down if he tells you what really happened, you know? So anyways, besides that point, it was just kind of funny to see him, you know? And it's cool because as they're talking about what's going on and Chopper's explaining to him, then all of a sudden we see come floating down the Milky Road over there to the sacrificial altar, we see Luffy and Sanji and Usopp, and they're like, "Yeah, the merry-go, and it's on the altar, and it's missing its mast." You know, Usopp right away. But anyway, the crew is reunited, which is cool. So we see, you know, kind of a touching moment, too, that I thought was touching anyway, because Chopper, he has a lot of self-doubt, okay? He's got a lot of issues with confidence and things like that, and that's certainly something that I can identify with, at least from my past, and it's really kind of neat to see this touching moment because Usopp, who's also kind of a big chicken, but he kind of has he has confidence, but not really. He has confidence in his bullshit. He weaves these stories and everything else, pretends like he's the leader, you know, tells these tall tales, but he comes there and he's like, "What happened to the mast?" And Chopper's like, "It was on fire and it was the only thing I could do," and blah blah blah, you know. And Usopp's like, "Dude, calm down, man. Did you bandage your wounds? You know, did you get your wounds bandaged up?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, why?" And he's like, "Yeah, fine, whatever, man. You know, the ship is made as brick and mortar. I mean, it's, you know, wood. We can replace wood. We can replace possessions. We can't replace you." And I thought it was a very touching moment because so many people, you know, I hear talk about, you know, and they lost this and that in a fire or a flood or whatever. And really, the possessions that you have, the stuff that you fill your life with, you know, that can be replaced, right? But you can't replace, like, a leg or a person, you know what I mean? You know, if somebody wound up obviously getting injured or in an accident and lost a leg, you know. But yeah, I think you understand the meaning of it. So I thought it was a very nice, very touching moment, and just something that kind of helped bring those two and just the crew together. So anyway, they're like, "Well, I thought the Sky Knight was really injured in this and that." So then you go and you see that Gonfall, he's laying in a bed. Chopper managed to get him down into the sleeping quarters, you know, the inside of the Going Merry. And, you know, he's in there, and his bird's there as well. The bird is none the worse for wear. It doesn't seem too bad, but Gonfall was hurt very, very badly. And, you know, they wind up just kind of talking about what their next move is going to be. So they can't go anywhere tonight. They can't get to Angel Island tonight because they still have to fix the ship. So they decide that they're going to go and camp in the forest because it'll be a better defensible position, right? At least I think that's what Zoro winds up saying. And they're like, "What?" And Usopp's like, "The forest? I don't want to." So anyway, later on you go and you see Usopp, and he's got like this chalkboard set up behind him, you know? And he's like, "Okay, so this is what's going on. El Dorado, the actual city, and what the Monkey Mountain Allied Force was looking for is actually here, you know?" And he's like, and Nami's like, "Yeah, I told you that earlier, you know?" And then they're like, but they're all putting together their knowledge, which is kind of cool to see. And then he's like, "And this mantra stuff, you know?" And you know, this mantra stuff is kind of like a premonition, or they're able to actually like predict our moves, you know. But we got to figure out more about that. So it is kind of neat to see all that come together. And then we get a real nice moment where Luffy goes. It actually shows each one a slit panel where you see there's like a little sliver of each one of the 7 crew members, and Luffy's the first one, and he's basically like, "Hey, this is cool. An adventure, a city of gold. hey, that's awesome, right? I'm down for that, right? And Nami's like, yeah, I told you, that's cool. And it's just so neat to see everybody, because everybody chimes in, and then, Robin's just like, yeah, whatever, it'll be fun, and of course, Chopper, his whole thing that he, that after Usopp told him that was that he's going to work to become stronger and stuff, which is, I thought was cool as well. He actually wants to get better and wants to be a bigger part of the crew, a more formidable opponent, for foes and things like that. And then you go and you get Zoro at the end, right? And I forget what everybody else says exactly. It was all cool though, to see them together and on the same page. They all believe in what they're doing. And then you see Zoro at the end of it, and he's just like, oh yeah, vastly outnumbered. It's my kind of odds, And then at the end, Luffy's just like, yeah, So he's all excited. They're gonna go sailing on this adventure, or they're gonna go and figure out the secrets of Skypiea, get the gold, do whatever they got to do. So a very cool chapter, I thought, and certainly just kind of neat to see everything and how it transpired. So that will lead to my chapter question, and my chapter question is, what did you think about the moment between Chopper and Usopp? And really, I mean, it kind of goes for the whole crew, but really those two, they kind of have some funny antics, almost like Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, and I really just enjoy the camaraderie and the friendship that they've built. But what did you think of that moment that I felt was a touching moment, where Usopp was like, no, dude, we can replace shit on the ship. We can't replace you. Leave your answer to that question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you have not done so already. Shame on you. We look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation.
Usopp hammer! What the hell? Usopp's hammered again?